Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Farhan bin Abu Bakar. So, I will make introduction to rural development policy. By the year 2030, the rural development policy, in Malay we call it Dasar Pembangunan Luar Bandar, has set the goal of making Malaysia's rural area prosperous, inclusive, sustainable and holistic as the key objective. Vision of flourishing countryside show the goal of the government to guarantee that rural area has access to infrastructure and social amenities on par with those found in a nearby city. Target rural area provide commercial and employment options that can boost local residents' income. People who live outside of city will have plenty of opportunity to develop their human capital, lead healthy life, feel protected and use service for governance just as easily as residents of city do. With the help of this DPLB, the government has a strong commitment to closing the quality of life gap between urban and rural area, fostering economic opportunity and fostering a social climate that will encourage people to stay in rural area, particularly young people. In order to boost the number of productive people and economic potential of rural areas, the government also plans to lure some city developers and investors to relocate there. The countryside will also be popular destination for key holidays and tourists from both domestic and international travelers to appreciate the splendors of nature, heritage, culture and enjoyment of rural life. So they will have a three issue for this rural development policy. The first one is lack of basic infrastructure and other amenities in rural area. Rural communities still have inadequate access to water and power as well as a lack of connectivity, production, processing, distribution, sale and marketing as well as access to funding and information have all been impacted by development and expansion of the rural economy. Public facilities were made available for local communities to get together, including community hall, futsal court and kiddies playground. However, the goal has not been met, in part because of the facility poor maintenance and inappropriate location. The capacity to produce cash for this facility upkeep has also been hampered by their indoor use. The second issue is a lack of synergy in the implementation mechanism. Duplication of program and initiative as well as blind spot in implementation have been caused by a lack of coordination and communication amongst the ministry and organisation involved in rural development. This has made it difficult to coordinate effort among agencies, ensure improved resource utilization and carry out effective project monitoring and evaluation. The last but not least issue is lack productivity and lack of integration. Due to weak rural-urban link, rural community, especially those near metropolitan center, has not been able to fully benefit from growing urbanization. This has impact on the rural community ability to generate money, productivity and new jobs. Additionally, a lack of inclusion in rural economic activity has limited economic opportunity and prevent resource optimization. Economic growth in rural areas has been constrained by issues such as a lack of effective corporate leadership for infrastructure and facility, a lack of logistical assistance and a lack of marketing network. The employment of cutting-edge ICT applicant by rural entrepreneurs has been constrained by low availability of broadband service. Additionally, the majority of this company employ unskilled labor and use outdated technology. As a result, the economic activity in rural area lack imagination and innovation. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My full name is AMALIA SHAHIDA BINTI SHAHIMI. So today I would like to present about the program that are implemented under the policy lah. So since the Malaysia independent in 1957, throughout the 1990s, rural development has been a central priority of its economic policy. The rural sector is the critical to the country's economic development, social development and the political economical development. The sector distinguished features include the high prevalence of poverty, poor productivity, and a lack of the fundamental economic and the social infrastructure and the market flow. So there are four programs that implemented under the Rural Development Policy. The first program is Rural Electricity Supply Program, which is we call as the BELB. The BELB program is implemented with the purpose of providing electricity to the house in the traditional village, which are outside the area, which are under the operation of the local authority (PBT) throughout the country, including the long houses, the remote areas of the Sabah and Sarawak. The BLB program is carried out in two different ways, which is the first is through the method of the connecting grid line from the sources owned by State Electricity Authority (PBANB). These sources are Tenaga Nasional Berhad (TNB) for the Peninsular Malaysia Sabah Electricity, for the State Sabah, and the Sarawak Electricity Supply. In the interest of the state of the Sarawak, remote places that are too far away from the grid line will get the electricity supply from the alternate sources, such as the solar energy, generator set, solar hybrid, and the like. Since it would not make economic sense to link them to the grid line. So the next activity is the rural water supply program, which is we call as the BALB. The main objective of BALB's program is to provide a clean and treat water to the rural communities throughout the country, including the placement outside the local authority area to improve their health and the quality of life, thus to stimulating the economy, industry, agriculture, and the tourism development. The main scope of the program are reticulation, alternative, and upgrade the or buy the new plan. And then the third program is the Rural Road Project (JALP). The Accelerate Rural Road Program (ARRP) established the Rural Road Program (JLP) in 1977 to speed up and enhance the road development to improve the rural connection. The JALP initiative was undertaken in line with the policy statement to strengthen and extend the transport system in rural region and continue attempt to increase the rural road coverage and network. And finally is the social amenity facilities, which is often known as the public facilities and shared spaces, building or infrastructure that attract the local community. For an example, school, hospital. And in order to build the cohesive, the harmonic, advanced, dynamic, and progressive society, a village or settlement must provide excellent and full social amenity facility for the community usage. And yearly, more than the 60 million has been allocated for repair of the rural road and implementation of the social amenities program in state affected by the flood. And the total of the 356 application for the rural road was received, which include for the construction, upgrading, and repair of the facilities and infrastructure, and 394 application for social amenities program, including in Orang Asli village that were hit by the floods. That's all for me. Thank you. Next, I will explain the change that made under the policy. The first change is about the competitive and sustainable economy. The creation of the sustainable and the competitive economy should be the primary focus of the rural development policy. Within the scope of this initiative, the government will place its primary emphasis on the economic resources held by the rural population. This is due to the fact that practically the entire population of the rural areas fall under the B40 group. By implementing this policy, the government will be able to increase their income through this goal by increasing the resources in the rural area, by generating the wealth through the economy, diversification, and building the uniqueness of the local product, as well as encourage private investment in the group economy and activities, a multi-functional economy. The government could not prevent the migration of the people, especially youth, from the rural area to urban area because they are surely want better job, higher income, and the better public infrastructure. This is because the rural to the urban income ratio has been wide over the past few decades. And the next is entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is might be defined as the capacity and the willingness to create, organize, and manage a commercial operation despite the inherent risks or uncertainties involved in doing so, in order to generate the profit. So the establishment of the brand new companies is often regarded as the most not kind of the entrepreneur activity. 45 within the central region, the government placed a primary emphasis on the entrepreneurship as an the alternative job choice for the member of the rural community. And as the part of this concert effort, the government has made the available of the any strategic measure, which is including efforts to change the entrepreneurship module in training, curricular, and effort to cultivate the entrepreneurship in the society. And as the part of this approach, will provide the training on entrepreneurship that is both effective and the comprehensive to all the rural area. The key of the rural community will be able to nurture the entrepreneurship if they have early exposure to the concept in the course of this entrepreneurship program, and enhancing the finance system as well as the financial and non-financial assistance as the rural support system. In the second approach include in this core group, the rural business owner might expect aid from the government in the form of the financial or non-financial assistance, depending on the nature of the assistance request. This assistance is intended to help the rural company owner grow their operation. Example of this is include the financial aid as well as the provision of the building and the other facilities for the commercial use. And the next is the quality human capital. The quality human capital is simple, which is a nation most vital resources, and in this core, the government must develop the soft skill and the technical skill, or we call as the
Globalization as a result of rising internationalization of production operation. Globalization is the complex interrelationship in economic activity across international space. The result mostly from the creation and wide acceptance of the contemporary information in the telecommunication technology. The global liberation of trade and capital flow and the resulting improved capacity multinational. International agreement that resists national government ability to direct, support and protect the economy of their underdeveloped region allow corporation to amass capital wherever production costs are lowest. International globalization can present benefit from the opening of global market as well as trade to rural product from increased competition. The fundamental difficulty is how to improve rural goods so that they continue to be popular with local consumer and also be sold abroad. The quality of the product and greater market penetration will be ensured through improving production and marketing skill and technology, So, quality also has something to do with general well-being and the cleanliness of the environment rural area. Environment is just as important to producing healthy food as are skill and technology. Next, rural strategy must be concentrate of pinpoint niches and each rural area comparative advantage. The improvement and protection of environmental resources must go hand in hand with the development of rural product. Marketing of high quality goods must reflect not just the quality of the good themselves but also the quality of the community and environment. Uneven development include both of uneven process of economic power and capital accumulation and manifest in social inequality, as well as the uneven process of development in the spatial development. As the result of the globalization phenomena, it is anticipated that big city will continue grow and draw resources from rural areas such as labor, minerals, and other natural resources. Due to capital intensive and highly specialized character of global business, this relationship with local small business in rural area and their potential benefits to rural development as a whole are extremely unlikely. This scenario will result in a wider disparity between urban and rural affluence. Rural variation. Rural heritage is extremely abundant in Malaysia. In rural location, there are many different type of individual and community. For example, Malay in traditional village, Chinese in small city, Indian in estate, in the indigenous people of Sabah and Sarawak, and the isolated group of Orang Asli and Orang Ulu do not share the same social culture, economy, physical value or belief system. Basic infrastructure is still lacking in isolated rural area. Rural area are losing the younger generation on wing to out migration with while subsistence economy practice continue to be used. Social service in small town and rural companies. When preparing for the further development of rural area, it is crucial to take rural variance into account. Centralized planning is really less meaningful by taking into account local variation. Planning and putting rural development into action require collaboration between central agency, local agency and local resident. Rural development also need to be pursued usually. Thank you.
Rural vision. In this course, the government concentrates on the entrepreneurship as a career optional rural economy. Under this concentrate, the government has provided any strategy such as a certain the entrepreneurship module in the training curriculum and cultivating entrepreneurship in the society. Second, rural resource management. Through this policy, the government can increase their income through this scope by increasing resources in the rural area by generating wealth through economy diversification and building the uniqueness of the local products and encouraging private investment, group economy and activity multifunctional economy. And the third, local development and participation. In this call, government must ensure to improve the soft skill and technical skill as such as a hard skill for the community in the rural area by strengthening the professionalism of MRSN teacher to produce excellent and highly capable students to ensure the future of the country. In conclusion, the implementation of the rural development policy is a guideline for the government to make Malaysia a developed country by 2030, especially in rural areas. This policy that the government is doing to eradicate poverty due to the still high poverty rate in Malaysia. The 10 of pillar on this policy describe the federal government's effort to develop rural areas through various strategies undertaken within the top 10 core.
This policy is also a challenge to the government in the curbing rural poverty to achieve a prosperous rural vision. In this case, the government also touched a lot of the youth who should be the direct involved in providing cooperation in the development of this rural area by venturing into the field of entrepreneurship, because they are the successor of the next generation. Therefore, the implementation of this rural development policy focused by bridging the income gap between the rich and poor, as well as the rural and urban states. Rural development policy play an important role in making rural area attractive and conducive by 2030.